Hey everyone, it's Jill Winger from theprairiehomestead.com, and today I'm going to show you how to freeze tomatoes, no blanching required. So I've been out in the garden harvesting tomatoes, and so these are more tomatoes than we can handle eating on a day-to-day basis, but it's not enough to can or preserve quite yet. So when it comes to this, I'll either dehydrate them, and I'll post a link to my sun-dried tomato tutorial in the show notes, or I can freeze them. Now, I am not a fan of fussy preservation methods. I don't like blanching, I don't like skinning things, I don't like peeling, I don't like anything that requires tons of tedious time in the kitchen. So I know there's a lot of techniques out there that call for blanching the tomatoes first, and that's where you dunk them in boiling water and then dunk them in ice water and remove the skins. And I suppose if you're very, very adverse to tomato skins for some reason, you can do that and then go ahead and freeze them. But for me, I don't mind a little bit of tomato skin here or there, and I find that it really doesn't bother us in the finished dishes. It's not too tough, it's not really annoying, we don't even really notice it. So for me, that really tedious step of blanching and dunking and peeling just isn't worth the hassle. So I've stumbled across this very simple freezing method, and this is what I've been doing for years. This allows me to preserve small amounts of tomatoes at a time, and I can even just save them up in the freezer until I'm ready to make a big pot of sauce or spaghetti or whatever. So let me show you exactly how this works. So the first thing you'll want to do is make sure you're selecting tomatoes that aren't super mushy. Now, a little soft is okay, but avoid the ones that are really, really squishy and juicy. So I pick the ones that are a little bit more on the firm side, but still ripe. And after that, we'll give the tomatoes a quick wash. We'll cut off any stems and any spots that might be bad on the tomatoes. So if you have tiny cherry tomatoes, you can actually just freeze those whole. If you have larger tomatoes, or even something like a Roma or a paste tomato, these are my favorite type of tomato to grow because they aren't as juicy, and they're great for sauces and pastes. You can quarter them or halve them, and that just makes them fit in the bag a little bit easier. So once you go through your tomatoes and you remove the stems, and you cut them in half or in quarters, now you'll want to de-seed them. Now, this is a lot fancier than it sounds, and all I do to de-seed my tomatoes is basically run my fingers along the flesh of the tomato and scrape out any seeds and juice. Now, I don't try to get every last bit, just the majority that's in there. And the reason I do this is to avoid the tomatoes turning into a giant frozen mass once I put them in my freezer bags. Now, once you've de-seeded your tomato pieces, you can flash freeze them for 30 to 60 minutes if you like. So this means just lay them out on a cookie sheet, pop them in the freezer for 30 to 60 minutes or until they're partially frozen, and then you can transfer them over to a gallon-sized freezer bag. This just keeps them from sticking together and becoming a giant tomato clump in the freezer. Now, I'm a little bit lazy, so I like to skip that method, and I actually just stick my tomato pieces right in the freezer bag, pop it in the freezer in the barn, and that's it. Now, to use these tomatoes, when you're ready to make a giant batch of sauce, you can pull them out of the freezer, stick them right in your pan. Sometimes, if I even have some fresh tomatoes and then a couple bags of frozen tomatoes, I'll stick them all in the stock pot at the same time, let them all come to the same temperature, and then start adding my seasonings and my herbs, and that is where I begin my tomato sauce process. You can also use these frozen tomatoes just a few at a time if you want to make my very favorite fast sauce. This is like a 15-minute tomato sauce. It's amazing. The flavors are bright and crisp, and it's not exactly the same as an all-day simmered tomato sauce, but it's pretty darn amazing. And I'm gonna link to that video in the show notes as well. And there you have it, guys, how to freeze tomatoes the fast and easy way. For more homestead kitchen tips, be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post a new video every Tuesday. Thanks for watching. You can get that one if you want.
choose a perfect one.
Yeah, I like to get them when they're a little orange and the chickens don't beat us to it.